Jason Munson here with PelletStovePro.com, and today we're going into the exciting adventure of cleaning a pellet stove. Exciting, you say? Oh boy, you cannot believe it. It is so much fun. This is not your normal once a week cleaning or even a once a month cleaning. This is the big one. It's the annual cleaning, the yearly cleaning, maybe twice a year cleaning if you run 2 to 3 tons of pellets through your stove every year. But this is the important one. This is the one that maximizes the efficiency of the stove, keeps it working well for long periods of time. We're going to go through the tools, we're going to go through the techniques and the tips, everything you need to know and to do and to have to be able to do this job right. As you might imagine, the tools for this job are relatively basic. You have your basic toolbox, you have your roll of paper towels, you have your preferred glass cleaner. The other thing you might have on hand is a mirror to help you see around the corners, and also a fancy screw gun can sometimes come in handy. Normal things you might have around your house. Maybe you might also have a shop vac, something like that, to help vacuum up. Actually, pretty necessary part of the trade. The one thing you might not have, though, is one of these, which is a chimney brush. And this is something that we sell on our website, PelletStovePro.net. It is a necessary part of this job. It's what makes it so that you don't have to call a chimney sweep to come and do this every single year. So get yourself one of these. They're about 10 feet long. They have the head on them already. They usually come with a couple other accessories, and you definitely will need it to do this job. Now, the first part of this job is relatively simple. It's relatively easy to do. It's something that you do every single week, which is cleaning of the glass. But I'm going to show you a couple different ways of maybe doing it that makes it a little bit easier this time around. The first step is to do what you would normally do every single week or a couple times a week in cleaning out the stove, which is just to vacuum and clean the glass. For cleaning our glass, we're going to use a simple glass cleaner like Windex and a paper towel. But one additional step that some people don't realize you can do that is really helpful is after you spray the glass and spray some on the paper towel, is take the paper towel and dip it in to a little bit of the ash that's maybe left in the bottom of your ashtray. What this does is it creates a little bit of an abrasive effect with the Windex and the ash, and it makes it really easy to clean off the glass, especially some of the tough parts, maybe around the edges of the glass that get caked up with excess debris or excess staining. After the glass is all clean and you vacuumed all the ash out of the burn area, the next step is to get a little deeper into the pellet stove, which is to remove these fire brick. Almost every pellet stove will have some form of fire brick, and most of the time they are secured into the side of the stove with a plate, a metal plate like this. They're usually on both sides, and this is pretty uniform for almost every pellet stove out there. So first, let's take these off. A lot of other stoves will have some other apparatus behind here, some other things that you may need to take apart. But once those are out, you want to go ahead and vacuum up the ash that those have left behind. If you're working on a Whitfield stove, you'll have some other baffles that might come out of here, particularly on the Advantage series, you'll have some. If you're working on the Austroflamme stove, like an Austroflamme Integra, you'll have heat exchange tubes that have to be cleaned behind. But a lot of them are just like this, where they have the backing, but it's part of the air pathway it's important to have cleaned. The type of stove that I have here is called a freestanding stove. You might have an insert model which goes into a fireplace insert, and while the sides of my stove are really easy to access, yours might have some sort of shroud that goes up and around the top of the stove. If that's the type of stove that you have, you're going to have to take off that shroud. There's usually some sort of screw or mechanism, something hold it together. And to get to the exhaust fan and to get to the chimney, you're going to probably have to slide the stove out a little bit, which isn't a really big deal. They're a little bit heavy, but Most stoves, that's the way they came in, so there's usually a little bit of play, a little bit of movement in there, a little bit of room that you have to be able to slide it out and pull it out to get to this next part that we'll be working on. With the front end of the stove cleaned and put back together, it's now time to move around to the back end of the stove. I've taken off my side panels here to find my exhaust fan. You can see the exhaust fan is connected directly to the chimney. And with the exhaust fan, we need to clean out the inside of the housing and the fan blades. There's usually about 6 screws. In this case, there's 4 screws that hold the motor into the housing. I've already taken those screws off. So this will now slide off really easily. And that's what our fan blade looks like. I've got some of this gasketing here that I may be able to recycle. Most likely I'll need to replace this. Now the job is just a matter of vacuuming this and cleaning it. As you can see here, my gasket ended up in pieces, and I didn't bother to order a new one. Some of these gaskets can be $15 or $20. So an alternative to this is a product that's called Millpack. Millpack isn't a glue, it's a type of a sealant that you can use in replacement of a gasket. If you want to, you can just put a bead like this. You can see here. I can put that where my gasket went. It doesn't dry, or it doesn't dry completely like glue does, so it's not going to seal my motor to my fan housing, but it is going to create the seal that I need for the stove so that it doesn't leak smoke into my house. Of all the parts of this job, I've got to say that this is the one that I like the least, because I got to crawl way back behind my fireplace to be able to access the chimney here and yank it apart in such a way where I can get this tool up into the pipe. This is a chimney brush, and we have these available on our website and on eBay and on Amazon, and this is the special super duper tool that chimney sweeps have that most people don't have, which is why they get to charge you the extra money that they charge you. As you can see, there's nothing really all that special about doing this particular job. No offense to the chimney sweeps, they are wonderful people. I've been one of these guys before. To get to this thing though, most stoves are going to have some sort of end cap like this one here. On some other stoves you might actually have to take the chimney off, but in this case this end cap will twist off and then twist down, and I can get it to come loose here off the bottom of the stove. As such, a lot of times you'll get debris coming down as soon as you open this thing up. If you haven't cleaned it in a while, there's sometimes a lot of ash that will end up in the bottom of this thing. But the general idea is to get the brush up into the pipe, and with this flexible rod here, I can start brushing out. And as you probably can see here on the video, is you just start getting a pile of debris that comes out through here. Most of this stuff higher up in the chimney isn't such a problem. It's usually the stuff low down that's an issue. This cleaning rod comes in a 10-foot length, which is usually more than enough to get what you need. Oh, it's dusty. Once you get it this far, you can take your vacuum cleaner and suck up this pile. And now the rest of the chore is just about putting this all back together. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it helps you out in your pursuit of good heat and keeping warm. And pelletstovepro.com, pelletstovepro.net, and make sure you get one of these chimney brushes. Okay,